Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts. I'm Lynn, your host, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host, Erinbeth. And before I start to talk about what tonight's draft topic is and who the panelists are, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who has been so supportive in so many ways to make what started out as a one-off Zoom meetup into a full-fledged podcast that we are celebrating its one-year anniversary tonight with this show. Because Erinbeth, it was actually last September when I first suckered you in to doing this little idea that I had to have panels of double-deckers debate and create these top 10 lists for Hallmark movies. And cue the Wind Beneath My Wings soundtrack. It's all because of my inspiration by Emily P., aka Mrs. Walker, who I saw at Bramblefest 2022 with her Andrew Walker pillow, singing karaoke with the real Andrew Walker. Well, I just went, what the holy hell is happening here? This has to be a thing. And I reached out to Daniel Thompson from Deck the Hallmark podcast, where we are all double deckers. And I said, I love this other podcast show that's all about theatrical movie ranking. They don't do TV rankings. What do you think about doing an Andrew Walker draft? And he was like, hell yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. And that's how it all started. And it's been a year, right?
The year has certainly flown by, for sure.
Yeah, it's just been crazy. And during that year so far, from September to September, we've had 27 different double-deckers who have been on the podcast. We've had Dan and Bran and Brian from Deck the Hallmark podcast. And spoiler alert, Panda is coming up for the October draft, which is all about fall feels. Ryan from the Fast Fridays and the Way Home podcast, and then Scott from Christmas Morning that he does with Bran. He was a guest co-host. So by the time 2023 ends, there will be about 32 double-deckers who have participated in Deck the Hallmark. So listeners, what you can't see tonight as we're celebrating this is that we have some of those 27 double-deckers have joined us here virtually, of course, in the Zoom. They're all muted for now, as opinionated as they are and as much as we love them, but they'll be able to chat with one another in the Zoom chat. At least that's the plan. I don't know. This may all crash and burn, who knows? And then at the end, once the final list is drafted, they'll be able to unmute and share their thoughts on their drafting experience, on what this list was like, and all that good stuff. So tonight, we're doing things a little differently. The theme is to draft the 10 best movies from When Calls the Heart series regular lead actors. So to be eligible, for the actor to be eligible, they have to have like 40 episodes under their belt of When Calls the Heart, excluding the Christmas movies. So that resulted in 12. Erinbeth, can you read off the names of the 12 actors that are eligible?
Yes, it's a whopping list of 75 movies that are eligible. The actors were Aaron Krakow, Martin Cummings, Pascal Hutton, Jack Wagner, Kevin Smith, Lori Loughlin, Daniel Lissing, Ava Bourne, Andrea Brooks, Paul Green, Kevin McGarry, and Chris McNally.
Yeah. And you can find the 75 eligible movies on the Instagram, and you can find the list of actors on the Instagram as well. So this is the same process that we used for May's The Way Home 10 Best Memorable Moments draft that was done. So basically, the panelists saw the full 75 list several months ago. They sent me their own personal 10 to 15 that they thought that you might play. I was the only one to see that list. I then did a blind master back to everybody, including Erinbeth. There were no rankings. There was no specific order. I threw in a couple of red herrings. So the list that they're actually working off of in good faith is 31 titles, still with all 12 of those lead actors. And that includes the Pascal Hutton, Ryan Pavey movie, Fourth Love and Down, that just aired a couple of nights ago. So that's the state of play for right now. So let's get to introducing today's panelists. First up is Kathryn, or Kate. Kate is such a dear, beloved member of the HMD family. Listeners, you'll remember her most recently from the epic Lacey Chabert mega draft in July, but she's also drafted in the Filmed on Location and the Christopher Palaha drafts. She's guest hosted several times as well. And behind the scenes, she has her patented BACA eligibility filter, which helps to ensure that the list of eligible movies that all the panelists get in advance is accurate, because if I did it, it would be wrong, like 3/4 of the time. And also, she's just super creative. And when I was trying to think of a special topic for tonight's draft, it was actually Kate who came up with the idea of, why don't we use When Calls the Heart? And I said, I've never seen that show. It's 9 seasons in, and I will not be able to do this. And she's like, we'll just do the lead actors and we'll figure it out and we'll draft the movies that they're in. And so I really love that idea. So all credit goes to Kate if you love this draft, and if you hate this draft, just blame me. And if all of that isn't enough, Kate actually just created and launched our Hallmark Movie Drafts account on Letterboxd. Right, Kate? Tell us about it.
I did, yeah. We decided for the 1-year anniversary to do something special. So we created a Letterboxd account for Hallmark Movie Drafts. It's called Hallmark Drafts. So everybody should go follow that. It has every single eligibility list and every single final ranked list from every episode that we've had of Hallmark Movie Drafts. And there's also a list of every single movie that has ever been eligible.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Erinbeth and I got a sneak peek before it goes public tonight, but after that, everybody will be able to find it, and I'll put the info in the show notes as well. So by the time this airs on Saturday, all that information will be there too. So thank you, Kate, and good luck. You're coming into the game with a leftover veto from the crazy Lacey Chabert draft. I don't know how you managed to hang on to one, but you did it. So you'll get to use that in addition to whatever else you keep. Okay. Next up is Jane, a legend with her premium goose background.
I love it.
So unlike Dan and Kate, this is Jane's first time drafting, but she's been a guest co-host a couple of times, including the epic Christopher Palaha draft, where you're a super fan, you know him, you hang with him, you chat with him. And the final list of 10 was so different from yours.
It was 100% different from mine.
You were like, am I really a fan? What?
Oh, I'm the real fan. Let's not get it twisted. Y'all were wrong.
Gotta listen to it, because Jane's little sidebar comments throughout the whole show are absolutely hilarious. But when she's not helping us out here, Jane actually has her own Hallmark website, and it's called hallmarkforallseasons.com. And she writes about Hallmark movies. She has her own rating system with scoring. There's a table up there. It's like she was Brian Harold before Brian Harold was Brian Harold, with the information and everything else. And in addition to that, she created these bingo cards, these themed Christmas movie bingo cards. There's like 15 of different ones. They're beautiful. They're beautiful and they're funny. They've got all the tropes on them. There's 15 that you can download. But Jane, when I went onto your site today just to double check things,
Yes.
I noticed a deep lack of Hallmark movie information from the past couple of months.
That is
And
correct.
now you are all about K-drama.
That is correct.
And explain yourself.
Well, it's a long story, but it started back in January with my daughter. We were looking to find something to watch together, and she introduced me to a K-pop band called 17, and they have 3 or 4 years worth of content on YouTube, a TV show that they put out weekly, and I just found it really funny and quirky and fun. And back in 2018, I had watched a couple K-dramas, but while I enjoyed them, I didn't do a deep dive. But after watching Going 17 for 2 months, I was like, well, let me go ahead and watch a K-drama on Netflix and just see if they're as good as I remember from several years ago. Well, I watched a show called Crash Landing on You, and holy cow, that thing was amazing. And my ratio of English speaking TV to Korean speaking TV quickly changed, and now I exclusively watch Korean TV. I don't watch any I don't watch Hallmark. I don't watch anything. If it's not in Korean, I have no interest. I canceled my DirecTV. I only subscribe to Asian programming streaming services, and that's what I do. I have my soju here. I drink soju, which is one of their alcoholic beverages, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so there goes Hallmark's movie ratings right there. Jessica in the chat just
fortunately,
said, that's hardcore, Jane. That's hardcore.
It is. Well, and I keep telling people K-dramas are a lot like Hallmark. And they've got just as many tropes as Hallmark does, and you start to see the same things either being said or done in K-dramas that you do in Hallmark. They're just as fun as in fact, but yeah, they're just as fun as Hallmark movies. I love K-dramas.
All right, we're going to check it out because you are never wrong. And speaking of being never wrong, Palaha draft aside, you were actually the guest co-host when Kate was drafting in Palaha, and you were the guest co-host when Dan was drafting in the Battle Royale. So you've seen their gameplay. Are you nervous at all about drafting against them tonight?
100%. It's one thing to watch. It's one thing to watch or listen to this show, but to participate, holy cannoli. Yeah, I'm nervous.
It's going to be fun. You're going to have a blast. I promise. And thank you for doing this, because you had to watch these movies when you weren't watching home.
It's all right. My pleasure.
I can't wait to see your list. And last but certainly not least is Daniel Thompson, who, unlike Kate and Jane, has clearly nothing to do and all day to do it.
That's right.
You would think that he might, get up off the couch and go coach a basketball team, but no, not even that. Actually, Dan from Deck the Hallmark podcast and many other shows in the Bramble Jam network. You are much loved by all of the double deckers, every single one of us. And I am so thrilled that you were able to join us tonight for the anniversary show. I think this is your third time in a year. So
yeah,
well done.
Happy 1 year to Hallmark Movie Drafts. That's a big deal, guys. It is. Most podcasts don't stick around for a year. So good on you guys. And it's really entertaining stuff. And this is coming from me because I too only watch Korean TV as well. I haven't watched a Hallmark movie in months. I've been phoning those takes in. I've been watching just Korean television, and then I just kind of guess on my take.
See, Dan gets it. He gets it.
No, I'm super excited to be here. I love this show and I love being on the show. So I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm so happy that you guys have kept it going. And I wish you as many years as you would like to do it, because it's so much fun. So congrats, guys.
Thank you. Because you were actually the first person that I reached out to right after Bramblefest 2022, when I was talking about maybe, I should do this Zoom with, Emily, and you were like, yeah, totally. I'm in.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Let's just do it. So it was really it was you and Emily and Jillian, Lady Panda, who's here in the Zoom as well, who did that first epic Andrew Walker draft. It was just so much fun. And then Bran, who, it was because of you talking about and being so excited about the drafts a couple of months that we had, a few under our belt. We're talking about it in a lunch with the boys, and Bran's like, well, how can I listen to this? Why don't you make this a podcast?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So that's how we went from, my little one-off Zoom fest to learning all about Anchor and Spotify and podcasting, and doing this once a month. So thank you to everybody and all the double deckers who participated this past year, and all the people who help behind the scenes. So that's the end of the Love Fest. Now we're going to switch to gameplay. That was a super long introduction. But here we go. So to be eligible, as sort of said at the top of the show, the movies that we're drafting tonight have to feature one of the 12 lead When Calls the Heart series regulars that were mentioned earlier. The movies have to have premiered on Hallmark or Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. They do not have to be in Korean, Jane. So these can be English-speaking Hallmark movies, just so you know. And again, there were 75 that were eligible. That list got culled down to 30 to 31. So let's talk drafting positions for this match. There are 3 of them. Drafter C picks positions 10, 7, 3 on the list, and drafter C gets a veto card and 1 veto override card. Drafter B picks positions 9, 6, 4, and 2. They get 1 veto card and 1 veto card only because they get 4 opportunities to get their title onto the list. That's more than anybody else. And drafter A picks positions 8, 5, and the number 1 position. They get 1 veto card and a bonus veto card. So they get the number 1 veto, they get the number 1 pick, and they get basically two veto cards. And as I mentioned earlier, Kate has 1 extra unused veto from a previous match, so she'll get to use that in addition to whatever vetoes come with her position. And Dan has chosen, out of the 3 that he is bringing into the game, he has chosen to keep the 1 unused veto and 1 unused veto override. So if Dan ends up as drafter A, everybody can be in serious trouble because he would end up with a lot of vetoes and a veto override, and we can all call it a night and go home.
That's right. We one can dream. You know, we got to get this pumpkin movie on this list, guys. Whatever it takes. If that's 3 vetoes and a veto override, then that's what it takes. Okay.
I wouldn't think
so we're gonna grow a giant pumpkin, and it's gonna be on this list.
I wouldn't be too sarcastic on that one if I were you. You never know. All right, Erinbeth, take it away. Rescue us with your trivia. Let's figure out who's going to be first up to pick their positions.
Well, the 3 of you are veterans and have heard the rules over and over again, but just to make sure that you understand what they are and you do not get penalized, we will start with the rules. Number 1, you cannot answer until I have finished asking the question. No jumping in before I have finished speaking. Number 2, as soon as I finished asking the questions, just shout out your answer. Number 3, I will tell you if your answer is right or wrong. If you're wrong, you cannot guess again until the other 2 drafters have made a guess. And number 4, if I have to give you a hint or a clue, that anyone can answer. So if you just guess incorrectly before the clue, it's okay to guess again right away. So is everyone ready and clear on the rules? We will start with the trivia. I use Google Plus on this, so it's completely and utterly accurate.
Airtight.
Number 1, in the wedding cottage, what is the name of Vanessa's wedding guidebook? This was a 2023 movie, guys.
Wow, people. Really?
I am floored. I thought that we would have boom right off the...
I'm sorry, I don't know that.
Okay, I will give a hint. It is a wedding cliche.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't remember it.
Jessica's dying. She knows the answer.
Like something borrowed.
Jane is trying to translate it from the Korean.
We will move on to question number 2. The answer was tying the knot.
Of course.
And the people in the peanut gallery are just dying over here.
Dying. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Question number 2. In Hello, It's Me, what does Annie leave at James's house when they first meet? Kathryn got it.
I'm sorry, I jumped in.
Jumped in.
Yeah, I think that's too early. I'm going to go with her wedding ring.
Yeah, she jumped in too early. Yeah.
No, she can have no. She got it right. Absolutely.
I felt like I had said.
No, she got it. She got it 100%.
On the meat, but if
I blame it on the wine.
If Dan was to steal it from Kate, then
it's fair. I didn't follow the rules. It's fair.
All right.
All right.
So Kate, you answered that correctly and saved everybody, hopefully, from 3 vetoes to Dan. And we will move on to the next
So
question.
Kate's taking A.
I guess
Three
I
vetoes,
have.
3 vetoes from Dan should be like a movie. We're just
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
I saw them live.
You could make it happen, Kate, if you take B or C. I mean, listen. Hey, but
She's like,
I'll
I'm
still
thinking
get
about it.
I'm still going to get either 4 picks and 2 vetoes and a veto override, or 3 picks and 2 overrides and 2 vetoes. So I feel good about this.
Yeah, no one needs to
Sounds
cry
like-
for Dan.
No one needs to cry.
Yeah.
All right, Jane and Dan, you are both still in this.
All right.
So next question. In Growing the Big One, what is the name of the show Emma does live from the farm she inherits? Come on, Dan, it's your favorite movie.
And I watched it on YouTube, and it was the speed wasn't full, and I hated every second of it.
But so much better than Smooch. Like the speed was 100 times better than
yeah,
Smooch.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a green show.
The clue is going to be, it sounds very close to a popular Netflix series, which I feel just handed it to you guys, and still the smoke from the ears.
I got nothing.
I watched it a long
Okay.
time ago. I just don't remember.
We are going to move to the next question. The answer is green is the new black.
Yeah.
Was the answer.
Come on,
All
Dan,
right.
be better.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. How do you say shut up in Korean?
Jane was
What?
offered
What?
no suggestions for the answers, just lamps down.
Yeah, I didn't know that one.
Yeah,
I rarely get to question number 4 in the trivia.
it might be a long
And
night.
I love that it's on the year anniversary with veterans.
Right.
That I'm getting through to number 4. All right, number 4. In The Christmas Shepherd, what is the name of the plant painted on Buddy's collar?
Mistletoe? That's totally a guess.
Okay, Jane's wrong. Dan, you get a free guess.
Holly.
You are correct.
Oh, I had a 50-50 chance.
Yes,
It is
Oh,
Holly.
goodness.
that's what I'm talking
All
about.
right. Well, then it goes Kate 1, Dan
Dan.
2, and Jane 3.
And Jane 3. Okay, Kate, so you get to pick. Do you want to be drafter A, B, or C?
I was gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna be drafter A.
Duh.
Kate is, duh,
You
yeah.
can't not, Kate. Come on.
Kate
There's
is
many
going to be
movies,
drafter
right?
A. And
I'm
so that
already
means-
having plenty of fun. If I was drafter A, it was Christmas morning. Like, I want to be very clear. Like, that would have been just the best.
Kate's gonna have picks 8, 5, and 1, and she gets a veto and a bonus veto plus the veto she's bringing in from the other game. So she has basically 3 vetoes. So Dan, do you want to be drafter B or drafter C?
I would like to be drafter B.
Not surprised. I am at such a disadvantage here.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
nothing.
Dan
Yeah.
is going to be drafter B. So he gets 4 picks. He gets 9, 6, 4, and 2. That comes with 1 veto. Plus he has a second veto that he's carrying over from another game. And he has 1 veto override. That's also a carryover. And Jane, I cannot say this in Korean, but Jane gets 10, 7, and 3. Jane, you're doing really well, though. You get a veto and you get a bonus. You get a veto override. So you're not doing too badly over there.
Right.
But you get all the pressure because you kick
Oh,
off
Lord.
the list.
But also with 2 veto overrides and 6 vetoes in play, this could be all night. We could be here all night. And I'm
I
here
hope
for
not.
it.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
I
yeah.
only
My
have-
husband just gave me a hand signal. He's like, oh, no, you're not.
I only have 1 bottle of soju in here, so it can't be on.
Is that alcoholic? I don't know.
It is
What is it?
alcoholic. Yeah,
What does it
it's-
taste like?
Here's Shane.
Is it like
Well, if you drink the plum kind, it tastes like Dimetapp, which is pretty awesome.
Perfect.
But I have the green apple. No, it's like if you're in Korea and drinking like their soju, it's like 50% alcohol, and it's literally just like astringent. There's very little flavor, but here in the US, they sell flavored versions. I have green apple here tonight. It's only like 17 proof. It's not super strong. So it's like drinking a bottle of wine. It's
That's not too bad. We've got Kate is drinking a bottle of, not a bottle, she's got
No,
oh, maybe
I am
it's
drinking a
bottle, I
bottle
don't know.
tonight, so I think I will go through the whole thing.
And then Deck the Hallmark producer extraordinaire / Hallmark Movie Drafts official mixologist, Erin actually created some themed drinks, some One Calls the Heart themed drinks for this. You'll see them on the Hallmark Movie Drafts Instagram. And I am drinking, I don't know, forgive me, One Calls the Heart fans. This is either the Nathan or the other guy. I don't even know his
The
name.
other guy. Perfect.
The other,
I love
the other guy.
Lucas.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Lucas. All right. And it's champagne, Chambord, and raspberry garnish, which
That's
is
the
actually
Nathan.
a strawberry. Is that the Nathan?
No, I
Yeah.
think that's the Lucas.
No, because
No?
of all the drinks she listed, that was the only one that I probably would make for myself. So I remembered that it
Oh
was
no,
the Nathan.
there's some great bourbon ones. I know Dan and I
Yeah.
like bourbon, so there's some
Yeah.
really good bourbon ones in there and 2 champagne ones. So definitely check them out. And thank you so much, Erin, for doing this for us. Okay, so just a couple more things. We can take a break after the 6th position has been locked in. If you need a break sooner, just let me know. Erinbeth and I have a little host side hustle going on. So we have exchanged our own personal top 10 lists, and we're going to see how many of our titles are on the final list. We win absolutely nothing, just bragging rights. And last but not least, you guys all know that you'll DM me in some way in the chat. So not to everyone in the chat, or message me, Dan, like you said, on my phone. And that's where we'll get the titles. So my list is in alphabetical order. So if it's A Christmas Morning, please include the word A in it so I can find it faster. Okay, so buckle up, everybody. Here we go. Jane, you can DM me your pick for number 10, and we will get this party started.
This is when it gets real, y'all.
Premium
I
goods.
don't want Dan to make fun of me this whole episode.
Oh, don't
I'm
worry,
sorry.
he will.
Oh, I know
would-
he will.
I would never.
Oh my gosh. My first one, and
That's
I'm already
right.
nervous. All right. I sent it
We-
to you in Messenger, Lynn.
You said it to me in Messenger? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
We do not pick shame here on Hallmark Movie
No.
Drafts.
We don't pick shame.
Never.
Nobody would be picked. Never. There's no pick shame.
No,
here.
we do
Never.
not pick shame. Mm-mm.
And I just want you to know, Emily, Mrs. Walker wrote in the chat. Okay, I haven't even had one drink yet. When I said that this can't be possibly longer than, anything, she's like, oh God, please don't make it be longer than Lacey's Chabert draft that she was in, because that was a marathon and a half, but it was so much fun. All right, here we go. So Jane has offered up a movie from 2018. It stars Daniel Lissing and Brooke Dorsey, and it's Christmas in Love. So Ellie Hartman, who's Brooke, is an aspiring crafter working in her small town's bakery, making famous Christmas
Kringles.
Kringles. And when the new bigwig city CEO, Nick Carlingson, Daniel Lissing, visits the bakery, he arrives filled with modernization ideas destined to lay off many employees. And during his visit, Ellie is to teach Nick how to make a Kringle. And she's determined to show him it's the people who make the business a success, not the machines. Jane, why do you like this movie at number 10?
I liked this movie the first time I watched it, but I liked it more the second time I watched it, and then subsequent years after that. I think Brooke Dorsey is charming in this movie. I think Daniel Lissing is pretty good in this one. It's not my favorite of his, but he's enjoyable in this as well. It's got all the tropes you love. It's got the making wreaths at the dining room table. It's got the baking scene. It's got a little bit of everything. And, of course, the classic Kringles. that made all the double deckers be super obsessed with getting Kringles all year long. I just think it's a charming, sweet Christmas movie, and surprisingly one that I've watched every year since it came out. So I thought it was worth being in the top 10.
Those are all great reasons. Who doesn't like watching Daniel Lissing, right?
Yes.
Kate, do you like Daniel Lissing at number 10 with Christmas in Love? You're first up in the veto order.
This one didn't make my top 10, but yes, I like Daniel Lissing, and there is no universe that you will find me vetoing Mountie Jack. So I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it. Well, we know Dan. Dan likes to rate and rank and maybe rant. So Dan, what are your thoughts on Daniel Lissing and Christmas in Love at number 10?
This movie's bad. The thing about this draft is that there are 5 movies I feel pretty strongly about, and then the rest of them are different shades of awful, in my opinion. And so this barely cracked my top 20. However, the difference between number 20 and number 12, I think, is virtually nothing. And I did not watch this again. And if we were doing a ranking of important DTH episodes of movies, this would probably be in the top 10 because it spawned a whole thing. But I really don't like this movie. And then I was like, maybe I was too hard on it. And then I heard the plot surmise, and then I heard all the things Jane liked about it, and it reminded me that I really don't like this movie. And the other problem is that there's 31 movies. So the chances, if I veto, if I had 3 vetoes, I would veto it. I'm just letting you know right now, I would veto it if I had 3. At 2 vetoes, if I veto it, the chances she puts the thing on there that I want is not very high. The 10th pick is virtually a freebie here. We're not, even with Kate at 10, unless it was her bottom 3 or 4, she probably wasn't messing with it. And so we do this every time. And this is why I end up holding my vetoes, is because we get to the top 5 and we all have the same 5. And I always look back and go, why didn't I veto at 8, 9, and 10 when it mattered? And so I really want to veto it, but I'm trying to protect one movie that I'm not sure everyone loves as much as I love, because I didn't watch it until this show. There's one movie on this list that was new to me. And I would not say that I would like it on the podcast, but it's one of my favorites on this list, if not my favorite. So I don't know how you guys feel about it. I have no idea. I've not heard from anyone. I talked to producer Erin, and what she thought about these movies was completely different than me. So all that to say, I have picked 6, 4, and 2. Those are the 3 I have.
You have 9, 6, 4, and 2.
I have 9, 6, 4, and 2. Mm-hmm. So I have 4 of the 9 after this.
Yep. You have 9. You get to pick the next one, and then 3 more after that. You have 2 in the top 5.
Come on, Dan, it's my first one.
And just keep in mind.
Let her have it. That's fine. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, I get 1.
Yeah. Good gosh, guys. Christmas, we're doing it. It's a freaking Kringle factory.
Christmas in Love. Congratulations, Jade. It's locked in at number 10. Woo-hoo! Even if Dan vetoed you, just a reminder that just because it's vetoed doesn't take it out of the game. Anyone can play that same movie higher up.
That's right.
Good call in not vetoing it. And Jessica is saying, way to guilt Jane.
Yeah.
That's my superpower.
All right. We are going. We're going here. So Jane is locked in at number 10 with Christmas in Love. So Dan, you can send me your pick for number 9. This should be interesting. Okay, I have Dan's pick, and he has chosen a movie from 2019. It stars Aaron Krakow and Luke McFarlane. It's Sense, Sensibility, and Snowmen. This is a very loose modernization of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. Very loose. Very hanging by a thread.
That's right.
It falls into a popular Hallmark movie trope: party planning. Ella Dashwood, that's Erin, and her sister Mary Ann, that's Kimberly Sustad, are huge Christmas enthusiasts. They own a party planning business. I can't believe you picked this movie, Dan. One of their new clients is a toy company, and they don't see eye to eye with Edward Ferris, who's Luke McFarlane, the company's CEO. And this movie was actually ranked 7th in the Luke McFarlane edition draft that we did back in November. Dan, you hate party planning movies. Why did you pick this one at number 9?
It's a great question, Lynn. I don't like this movie. I don't think that Aaron Krakow and Luke McFarlane have any chemistry. He wears a really unfortunate hat in this movie. Krakow is going through the motions at best here. The reason, and remember, basically from, if I'm being honest, basically from not 8th or maybe even 7th, maybe even 6th, basically from 6 to 11 are all in the same boat to me. And the reason this one ended up as 9 on my list, so I'm giving you 9 on my list for the 9th pick, is because of the chemistry between Aaron Krakow and Kimberly Sustad, which I think is great. They're doing this fun, quirky, not seen in Hallmark a lot sister thing, and that's fun. The rest of this movie is a slog for sure. Luke McFarlane, Aaron Krakow don't work well together, but Krakow and Sustad would watch a movie where these two sisters are trying to do something and like make it in the world or whatever you want to call it. So in looking at the list of movies I have in front of me in that like 6 to 12 range, the reason this hit 9 was because of those two, not because of the lead pairing in the movie. It's generic. It doesn't do much else right, but it does do that right. And it has some actual laughs in it. And that's why it got 9 on my list.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So Dan's basically saying that with any luck, he's going to get 2 points out of this play because, as you know, the players get 1 point for every one of the titles on their personal list that makes it onto the final list, and they get an extra point if it's in the same position that it ends up on the final list. So he had some strategery going on there, I think. Kate, you're first up in the veto order. What do you think of Sense Sensibility and Snowmen at number 9?
Yeah, I think my notes are what you said. The only good part about this is Sustad and Krakow, and that is not enough to have this on the list. You're pulling a veto from me real early, but this is a boring party planning movie, and it's not Erin's best work, and it doesn't belong on the top 10 list. So I'm using a veto here.
Veto down. All right. So Kate uses one of her vetoes. She still has 2 vetoes left. So Dan, I need you to send me another pick, please. Dan can still play this movie higher up if he chooses. So can
It sounds
James.
like he really loves it and will play it higher. So I'm really worried about that.
There's a lot of passion there.
I mean, you know, it's my 6th in this is there's not a whole lot of difference. There's a little bit of difference, but not a whole lot.
So Dan was talking about some movies that he feels really strongly about. I always have my Austin absolutes for
I love that.
So I have 5 Austin absolutes that just have to be on this list. They're not necessarily my personal favorites, but I think they're the ones that are universally loved. It was easy for me to put my first 8 onto this list, but I really struggled for like 9 and 10 on my own personal list. So I want to get everybody's thoughts as how hard it was to put this list together as we go through the game. Because I'm just really curious. It was a challenge to come up with 10. So I have Dan's replacement pick for number 9. He has chosen a movie from 2016. It stars Daniel Lissing, Jessica Lowndes. It is A December Bride. Layla's ex-fiance is marrying her cousin, and Layla doesn't have a date for their wedding, which she is dreading. Although Seth Murphy is the one responsible for introducing her cousin to her fiance, Seth is Daniel. She begrudgingly accepts his offer to be her date since she's out of options. Seth gets carried away at the wedding reception and announces that he and Layla are engaged, forcing a mortified Layla to keep up the pretense. Dan, why do you love this incredible movie at number 9?
This is the one we did for our LA live show. And I remember watching it, and it is an absurd piece of cinema. It is crazy that she has to get married in the same December that all of this happens, and some of the like machinations of like the apartment hallway don't make a lot of sense. But these are two really hot people doing really hot things. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just like, they both are very attractive, and it is a different plot that I have to be a December bride. That's crazy, right? And so it's an absurd movie. I don't have a lot of defense for it. But I mean, I think it belongs in the top 10 of the 31 movies we were given. I'm not trying to play a fast one. I think it belongs in the top 10. So here we are.
Here we are. Kate, are we here? Are we here with a December bride at number 9?
She said she would never veto Mountie Jack. She just said it.
I'm on the record stating that. So I, of course, would not veto this. This is the Daniel Lissing movie that I think should be represented on this list. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid, and I love it. I watch it often. So it definitely belongs on the list. Yeah. No veto.
Right. It's safe from Kate. What about you, Jane?
It is 100% safe with me. I had it higher on my list. I love this movie. Yes, it's absurd. It's absurd. But holy cow, I love this movie. And I still, to this day, when I sing Deck the Halls, I do it the awful Daniel Lissing way. I can't help it. That's the version that is in my head every Christmas season.
I think it's a great version.
I fully support.
While we're waiting for Kate to send her number 8 pick, I did the fake relationships draft. So this movie was one of the eligible titles, and I adore this movie. Erinbeth, how do you like this movie?
Before the fake relationship draft, I could not stand this movie. But when I watched it, I was like, I hate the cousin, I hate the aunt. But oh my gosh, when he picks her up and carries her into the house, what was like every part of my little frozen heart of hate for this movie. I'm like, I don't remember seeing that the first time. I love this movie, and I've watched it several times since. Love this movie.
I think
it should have been higher on this list.
And I don't remember when it was, Dan, but when you guys did the interview with Daniel Lissing, I don't remember the year, but where you had like the steamy stare contest.
Yeah, the smolder off. Yeah.
The smolder off.
Yeah. To be fair, this was also higher on my list than 9. I want to be very clear. Okay. So it went in my rankings, even though I find this movie absurd and not worse. I mean, if you have Austin's absolutes, I can have Dan's definites. I have 5 that I just thought were like, it isn't in those 5, but this movie was higher than 9 for me.
Point of clarification: is it Dan's definite dumpster fires?
No, just definite. I can't imagine. And you know what's wild is that of those movies, I don't know if all 5 are going to make the list. I honestly don't know how people feel. Like 2 of the movies in the top 5, I know are like minted clap, like people love them, but 3 of them, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be on the list at all. So I'm fascinated to see what happens.
All right. I have Kate's pick for number 8. She has chosen a movie from 2014. It stars Martin Cummins, Terry Polo. Martin Cummins plays Mark. Terry Polo is Sally. It's The Christmas Shepherd. This is directed by Terry Ingram. The Christmas Shepherd is a story about a widow of a veteran. Her name is Sally Brown, who is a published children's book author. And after her husband dies, she is left with just Buddy, his German Shepherd. And after a severe storm, Buddy runs off, setting in motion a series of events that are sure to unite more than just Buddy and Sally again. So some dog and pet lovers tend to not love this movie. One reviewer on IMDb succinctly put it, it's about a selfish father and daughter that refuse to return a dog to its rightful owner. But another IMDb user review called it When Buddy Met Sally. So everyone's all over the place on this movie. Kate, tell us why you like The Christmas Shepherd with Martin Cummins.
So that is the main reason, Martin Cummins right there. Like, the movie's okay. It's very schmaltzy, like overly dramatic Hallmark. Yeah, the dog's cute, but the real reason to watch this movie is Martin Cummings is like completely swoon worthy in this movie. Looks great. He acts
He's
great.
hot, man.
Yeah,
I might watch When Calls the Heart for this guy.
And so that's the thing here is we're making the best When Calls the Heart actor list. He is the second, according to IMDb, second most episode credited actor.
Wow.
His one movie that's eligible belongs on this list. So there you go.
That's right. He only had one. I have to tell you, it was the first time that I had ever seen it, and I was getting very anxious. I had a lot of anxiety watching this movie when Buddy was lost and running away, and I watched it back to back with another movie I hadn't seen before. I hadn't seen this one, and I watched it back to back with Hello, It's Me, and
boy, what a double feature. Yeesh.
Do not recommend that double feature.
No. No.
All right, Dan, you're first up in the veto order. What do you think of Christmas Shepherd?
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it where it is. I had a little bit higher on my list. This movie is an absolute paradox, because why are you leaving your dog outside in a storm when you know that a storm is coming and you act like you love your dog? Why are you not giving this woman her dog back that is part of her family? Her son is overseas. Why aren't you being honest with your daughter? All of that made me really angry. However, Kate's not wrong. Martin Cummings is great in this movie. I was watching this movie going, why isn't this dude doing more of these movies? He's a revelation. He's so good. The movie is so melodramatic. I love dogs. I have 2 German Shepherd mixes at my house. I couldn't believe how this dog was used as a pawn in this movie, and it made me angry. But Martin Cummings is giving a better performance than most would give, given the character. And so the more I think about the movie, the more I have it probably too high on my list. And so I'm kind of happy at 8. Maybe I would have liked it at 7, but it's on here. I think it deserves to be on here, and I'm happy with it at 8.
You're happy with 8. Actually, yeah. I think almost all of us might, people that I see on the screen, I think a lot of people that are here tonight have dogs or a dog for a pet. And I wonder if you felt as anxious as I did. We don't have a dog, we have a cat, but I had a German Shepherd growing up, and it was a tough watch for parts of those scenes where he is not at home with Sally. It was really hard to see. Yeah. So Jane, what do you think of the Christmas Shepherd at number 8?
It did not make my top 10, but I understand why it would be on other people's top 10. Yeah, the whole dog thing is what made it shoot quickly down below top 10. I agree that Martin Cummings is a fantastic actor in this. I suspect that's why he's also so beloved on When Calls the Heart, is because he has proven that he has range and isn't always the villain, and is able to play, I won't veto it. I don't think it deserves to be top 10 just because of all the dog issues, because I'm a vehement dog lover. But I'm okay with it being in the top 10.
Yeah, they might have lightened it by having the dog talk, maybe, but I think that would have taken it in a different direction.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Was Eric McCormick available?
Yeah, David Schwimmer voices the dog, Buddy the dog.
He practically did. He pushed the tablet underneath the Christmas tree as if he knew exactly what would happen.
Just to reassure people, there are some really beautiful moments in this.
Yeah,
very
for sure,
poignant movie. If you don't cry a little bit at parts of it, I don't know. You won't cry at anything.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I put down the ice skating scene was really great with the 2 of them, and that's you're right. They should really use him as a lead more often. It's sad that this is his only leading role.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, Jane, we are at number 7, believe it or not. While Jane is sending me her pick for number 7, let's just do a state of the list here. We have Christmas in Love. That's the Daniel Lissing movie at number 10. A December Bride. which is also Daniel listings. We have back-to-back Daniel listings at number 9. At number 8, we just locked in Kate's pick, The Christmas Shepherd. And Jane is going to send me her number 7. And Jane has chosen a movie from, I think it's 2015. It stars Paul Green, Candace Cameron Bure. It is A Christmas Detour. An anxious bride-to-be, Paige, that's Candace, is desperately trying to get to her fiance during the Christmas season to meet her future in-laws for the first time. She throws in with a broken-hearted guy, Dylan, that's Paul Green, and a married couple, Frank and Maxine, for an emergency ride to New York when their flights get canceled due to a massive snowstorm. And throughout this snowy madcap journey, the foursome finds plenty of surprises. And Marcus Rosner co-stars in this as Candace's
the bad boyfriend.
The bad boyfriend. Jane, why do you like A Christmas Detour at number 7?
This one, so 2013-14 is when I started watching Hallmark movies, but 2015 is when I went all in on Hallmark Christmas movies. And this is one of the first ones that I just fell in love with. It's very cheesy, but Paul Green is very handsome in it. And plot holes galore, but I don't care. I just really enjoy this movie. This is another one that every year I DVR it so that I can watch it. Or if I am flipping channels and I see that it's playing, I don't care if it's only got 15 minutes left. I'm going to watch the rest of it. I have a fondness for this movie more than some of the other Hallmark Christmas movies. So I really love this movie.
I will share very briefly. I love this movie too. It was the first Hallmark movie that I ever saw. And it also is an experience that I sort of had. I had a flight trying to come home from a conference that got delayed in New Jersey at Newark, an airport that I particularly hate. Huge storm, and I needed to get back home. And I was already married, but I hitched a ride with 2 male strangers all the way from New Jersey in a snowstorm back to Manchester, New Hampshire. And it was a great time. And I love this movie to no end. So no pressure there. Kate, what do you think of this movie?
Okay, so I'm torn. This movie is much higher on my list.
It's higher on my list as well, but since I only have 3 picks and y'all have vetoes galore, I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and play it now so that I have a voice.
It's a pick that is fascinating. Go ahead, Kate. Sorry.
I know, and that's what makes me nervous is I did re-listen to the DTH review of this movie after I watched it, and I know how Dan feels about it, but I also know that's how Dan felt about it years ago, and that you have come around on some movies in recent times, but I'm nervous this is not one of them. I think I'm gonna leave it just because I would like it to be on the list no matter what, even though I'm just gonna say it's my number 1. I love this movie. I think Frank and Maxine are some of the greatest supporting characters in Hallmark history.
I love them.
Amazing. I think
they're great.
Marcus Rosner is the king of the Baxters on the Hallmark Channel. Barbara Niven as his Baxter mother was amazing. And let's not forget, Marcus Rosner played the Baxter in season 2, everyone's favorite season of When Calls the Heart.
Yeah. So, that's the good stuff there.
Yeah, just another reason that this should be on the list.
But Kate, it's your number 1 and you're going to leave it at 7?
Yeah, because I'm nervous about you. If I try to put, I don't know if you're going to use up your other vetoes before we get up there.
You have the first
one that I also really, really love that I'm also okay with.
But you have the first pick.
You got the first pick.
This
Lynn
could be
Austin's absolutes are trying to swing.
Yeah.
I won't try to persuade you, but you've got a lot of wiggle room. You've got still 5 and 1. So play your heart. If you want to leave it, we can totally leave it, and we can go to number 6.
Like I love that it's on the list. I love this movie. It's like classic Hallmark screwball. There's another movie that I also wouldn't mind being at number 1, so I will leave it there.
Okay. Kate says no.
I got to be honest. This movie is in Dan's definites. It is not a movie that I loved when we reviewed it. I still don't love it, but on this list, this movie is a minted classic. I mean, it's Ron Oliver directing a screwball road trip comedy with Rosner and Niven and Paul Green kind of at virtually the height of his powers, and a tolerable CCB. This is a movie that was definitely in my top 5, and I am not going to veto this movie because I am now fascinated by 2 things. One, what in the holy fire you guys think belongs in the top 5? If Christmas Shepherd and Christmas Detour are not in there, what belongs in there? And so that's number 1. And 2, I know that I get 3 of those last 6 picks. And so I have a movie that is like, I'm a champion of, and I'm not sure I don't know where anybody else thinks of it. And so I'm kind of like trying to save all of my ammunition for this movie that I don't know. I don't know what you guys think of it. I don't know anything. And so I'm not going to veto this movie. It belongs on the list. If you made this list and this movie wasn't on the list, I don't think it would be an authentic list. And I am not a huge, like, this is not my jam necessarily, but I can recognize that for people that love this genre, how important this movie is. And so the fact that we're playing it at 7, I'm all for chaos, and holy cow, are we going to have some chaos coming in hot here, because I didn't think we would get to Christmas Shepherd or Christmas Detour before 4. I honestly didn't think we would get there before 4.
I had a Christmas Detour as my number 3.
Okay. All right.
But because I have so little power, I was like, you know what? I need to go ahead and try and get my all-time faves on the list, on the off chance that you, Dan, are the spoiler, because you keep talking about how I don't think anybody's going to have my movies on here.
Well, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if people love these movies.
This is your fault.
And it's Jane, you played Christmas Detour at 7, and we're going to keep it at 7. So there it is. It's on the list.
It's on the list.
We did it. And
I would just like to say that Jane can self-veto herself. You should see the comments in the chat.
The timeout. You can veto your own pick. That's terrible.
You can't. Bran has done it.
And that's so stupid.
Yeah, Bran did do it. Yeah.
Bran did it because he tried to trick people into using their vetoes and couldn't handle that movie being on the list.
Mrs. Walker says Kate did it too. Or was she talking about it's Kate's fault?
Jane's got one veto. If she's going to use it at 7 to veto her own pick, then God love her. Go ahead. I'll put Christmas Detour at 6 just to see the chaos.
Oh, Lady Panda comes back.
I will not be vetoing myself.
Okay.
I think we've got a Christmas Detour locked in at number 7. It's shocking.
That is wild.
I'm just telling you all, if Sweetest Heart gets played in the top 5, I am throwing my laptop.
Let's go. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Seriously, burn it down. Okay, that's Dan, it's all up to you for number 6, so we can see what is happening here. All right, Dan has chosen a movie from 2023, y'all. It's a 2023 movie, and it stars Aaron Krakow, Brendan Penny. This is a Terry Ingram movie as well, director. Aaron is Vanessa, Brendan is Evan. Vanessa's fledgling company, what's the name of her company again? Tying the Knot.
Tying the Knot's the name of the catalog. I know that for sure. Yep.
Oh my God, it's all about all things wedding related. She's launched a contest to promote her business, and the prize is a wedding of the couple's dreams. The winners have chosen a special wedding cottage, but the guide, Vanessa's guide, is outdated, and the cottage is run down and no longer in business. So Vanessa has to convince the new owner, that's Brendan Penny, An uninspired artist who just wants her to leave him alone, to let her renovate the cottage and host the wedding. And all with a tight deadline since the groom's next military assignment is looming. And you can pretty much guess what happens, but there it is. Dan, why do you like this? Wedding Cottage for number 6.
I wasn't as high on this movie as everyone else that I work with. But the chemistry's undeniable. It's a beautiful movie to look at. It's directed well, it's shot well, which isn't always the case in these movies. Brendan Penny has really come into his own as an actor on this network. And their chemistry is great. And it was different enough, I think, is the other thing for me is it has some tropes in it, but it was different enough with this quick renovation and him kind of being this recluse. He's a bad recluse, but he's a recluse. And so, yeah, I felt like it belonged on this list because I think it's well made and I think they have good chemistry. And for those 2 reasons, I had it on my list.
Okay. Those are Dan's reasons to have the Wedding Cottage at number 6. Kate, are you going to let Dan keep this movie at number 6?
Yeah, it was my number 4, so it doesn't make sense to use a veto to move it up any further. I did really love this movie. I think it's one of Erin's best. I think they had great chemistry. It definitely belongs on the list. So number 6 is fine, and I'll leave it.
Okay, she's fine with it. What about you, Jane? What do you think of the Wedding Cottage at number 6? And that Craco Penny.
I need to be honest here. I did not watch this movie. Therefore, I have no comment. I'm fine with it being in the top 10.
Because why, Jane? Why didn't you watch this movie?
Because it wasn't in Korean.
It was not Korean.
Because it was not Korean. I'm going to go with not Korean. No, I had it on my DVR and I just never got time to watch it. So, but it sounds fantastic.
Great, Jane. Dynamite drop him.
Jane, I have a surprise for you. Brendan Penny is on the line.
He's on the line?
We got him? Wow. Go ahead. Bran, what's up, buddy?
I'm sorry. He had to go. Sorry.
Oh, no. Did he drop? Oh, geez.
Yeah. After the 20-minute intro and everybody missed all the trivia questions. I'm out of here.
Okay, so we have the wedding cottage locked in at number 6. How are you guys doing? Do you want to take a break?
I'm going to get a break so I can go grab another drink real quick, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, that's totally fine. So I'm going to pause
Thanks.
it. Okay, so let's see. Where did we leave off? Dan was the wedding cottage at number 6. So Kate, you can send me your pick for number 5, which you have done. Okay. Kate has chosen a movie from 2019. It stars Kevin McGarry and Jen Lilly. Kevin plays Elliot. Jen plays Cassie. It's Winter Love Story. And it goes like this. When first-time author Cassie Winslet is paired with successful author Elliot Summersby on a road trip to promote their books, she learns to believe in herself and her talent. She also finds truth in the old adage, you can't judge a book by its cover. As she finds herself falling for the guy she thought to be pompous and full of himself when they first met. Tell us about this movie and why you love it for number 5.
So I'll go on the record officially. I am Team Nathan. I have always been Team Nathan, even before the developments this current season of When Calls the Heart. And the main reason I have always been Team Nathan is because of Kevin McGarry and is because of this movie. He is so great at this movie at balancing like the kind of like cocky, famous, like author with also just like the down-to-earth writer that goes on a road trip with Jen Lilly in the snow and his cute dog Bungie, and it's a cozy and romantic movie, and it's everything you could ever want from a Hallmark road trip movie. And it absolutely belongs on the list as Kevin McGarry's best performance.
Wow, very definitive. That's a baka or bust, I think.
That's mine. Yep.
That's yours. Dan, what do you think about Winter Love Story?
Yeah, thanks. I hate it. This is full disclosure. So Lynn asked for us to turn in our top 10s. Because it's based upon how many we get on that list. as if we win or whatever. And I said, so strategically, the list I hand you shouldn't be my list. It should be the list of the 10 that I think will make it on this list. And so on the 10 that I handed Lynn, I included Winter Love Story because I watched the movie this week. This is a movie that was in the winter of 2019 when we weren't covering all the films yet. And I hear people talk about it all the time. And I watched it this week and I did not like this movie. I found it cloying. I found it annoying. I did not think it was Kevin McGarry's best performance. They're doing this poor woman that's written a novel wrong by having her book signing the same day as this mega author that they're trying to make a ripoff of Game of Thrones. Like they couldn't make it more obvious. Like this is in the final season of Game of Thrones and he's got writer's block and it's so ham-fisted and terrible. And it drove me nuts. They do have good chemistry. They do. I don't want this anywhere near the list. And the thing that I have to reckon with is, one, I could veto it and Jane could override it. And two, I could veto it and Kate could put it at 1. So I'm a little bit caught here because if I let you play it at 5, I get a point, right? Like I put it on my list, even though I hate this movie. I knew it was going to be played, but I've got 2 vetoes. You can't you can't take them with you. You know what I mean? As the good Lord says, I don't like.
Well, actually, you can. You can take. You can carry over. You can carry over 2 vetoes into.
I got 2 in a veto override, so yeah, it's a tough spot. And to be honest, there's only 2 more movies that I think belong on this list. And I have 2 more picks and I feel pretty confident that at least one of them is going to be played regardless of if I play it or not. Yeah, let's veto it. Let's veto it.
Dan's going to use one of his vetoes.
Yeah,
and I'm going to override.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Because thanks, Dan, but you're wrong.
Hey, I have it on my list. I put it on my list for this very reason. I got the feeling I was in the minority.
Got a point.
Yeah, I got a point. So if I'm gonna lose on this, I got a point. But I felt like this was a movie that didn't belong on the list, and at least I'm gonna get a point out of it. And I was smart enough to turn in that version of the list anyway.
There you go. I did not see that coming. Winter Love Story. Erinbeth, do you like this movie? As I'm going to scribble my notes to.
I want to hear how much Jane loves it first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jane. Sorry.
It's my number 2. I freaking love this movie.
You guys.
I still have it on my DVR. The original 2019 airing is still on my DVR. I love this movie. I love everything about it.
God.
It almost made my number 1, but I ended up going with a different one. I love this movie. I'm sad that it's going to be as low as it is because I think it deserves to be higher.
I'm going to look for a version in Korean for you.
And now I feel like having it played at 5th is a victory. Like now I feel like considering it was 2 or 1 on Jane's list, and I get the feeling it was higher on Kate's list. I feel better about.
Yeah, I'll tell
Love Story
you my greatest strategy. I'm going to give it away after a year of playing on this show is if there's something you really want on the list, you play it as your second to last play because you still have another chance to get it on the list.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
And that's why if Dan hadn't vetoed it, I might have, just because I did have it higher. And since I have the number 3 pick, I was like, well, if I can get it in at 3, then I'll consider it a win, even though it's my second.
Man,
on the list.
I knew it was high. I didn't know it was that high.
I didn't see this coming.
Man, can I ask you guys this since we're all good friends here? Had I played it at 9, would you guys have vetoed it?
Yes.
Okay. So I could have gotten 1 out of Kate and 1 out of you. Dadgummit. I almost played it. I just didn't have the wherewithal. Like my conscience wouldn't let me play that sorry excuse for a movie. Like I wanted to play
1 out of me on your number 9 pick anyway.
Yeah, I know. So I got you with 1, and then I was like, should I play the one that I actually think should go there now, or should I play this movie that I know people love? And I should have played the one that I know people love. That's bad gameplay on my part. I could have gotten 2 vetoes going there, and I didn't do it. But 5, I guess, is a win. We'll take it.
Wow.
Well, I'm
This is
about to lose some friends because Dan, I'm going to sit next to you on the couch of, I cannot stand this movie.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think 5 is entirely
make room for
high
me.
for
Yeah.
this movie.
I hate this movie. Yeah.
You guys both hate the
Oh,
movie?
see?
What?
And
Yes.
we're all together on my Zoom
Yeah.
screen,
Yeah.
so it's like we're supposed to be here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but
Y'all
we
are
don't
crazy.
we don't pick shame here.
We
so
don't pick
I do. I pick shame. I've changed my mind on that. I also like, I was talking to Erin Shea about this movie today at the office, and she was like, and this is her quote, I don't care if it makes sense, Dan. They're authors. He wrote a book and they're stuck in a cabin together.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what she said. And so I was like, oh, okay. It's clear we have some strong feelings about this, and it's going to be on this list somewhere. But, you know, I tried my best.
They make snow angels. They drink hot cocoa together.
Yeah.
The
They wear
dog is so
PJs.
cute.
They have a hot cocoa
Adorable.
competition.
Yes,
is
they
what
do.
they have. It's just ridiculous.
I prefer Dan's review, which he just said cloying and annoying. Saw him live. They
Yeah.
were horrible.
Yeah.
Walked out after
Perfect.
halfway through the first song. So there you
What a
go.
mess.
Wow. Kate, you did it though. You've locked in Winter Love Story at number 6. So
Five.
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 For number 5. Sorry.
Yep.
So now's where some of the gloves come off. We were all really good friends and everything, but now we're at number 4, heading for the top 3 after this one. So Dan, go ahead and send me your pick for number 4. I'm going to do a quick review of the state of the list. There's Christmas in Love at number 10. That's Daniel Lissing, played by Jane. At number 9, Dan tried to play Sense, Sensibility, and Snowman. Kate vetoed it, and we locked in A December Bride, which is also Daniel Lissing. At 8, we have The Christmas Shepherd that Kate played. At 7, there was A Christmas Detour that Jane played, and people debated, should we veto it and move it up? But no, nobody did anything, so it stays at number 7. At 6, there's The Wedding Cottage that Dan played. And at number 5, just locked in by Kate, is Winter Love Story. Dan vetoed it, Jane overrode it, and it stays at number 5. And that brings us to number 4. Dan has chosen a movie from...
Lynn's face looks disapproving right now.
I don't know. Like, when I see things like this, I think of Bran.
It's Sense and Sensibility and Snowman. Got him. I'm just kidding. It's not.
It's Sweetest Heart. It's Sweetest Heart. Dan has chosen a movie from 2021. It's Aaron Krakow, Tyler Hines. It Was Always You. Elizabeth, that's Aaron. Elizabeth's engagement plans to George, who's Giles Payton, best Baxter in the world. Her plans to George are thrown into disarray when her fiance's brother, David, that's Tyler Hines, returns home. His unexpected influence prompts Elizabeth to question her life decisions. Nelson Wong is in this movie as Eugene, the mail carrier. Giles is always getting, dumped in these Hallmark movies, and I just love it. Someday he'll be a lead, I'm sure. I probably missed those movies. So why do you like It Was Always You at number 4?
I mean, if Christmas Detour can be 7, we can all agree It Was Always You at 4. Here's the thing, and I'm not doing a bit here. I know you think I am. My 5, 4, 3, like, these movies have all been played already. The reality is that this is a very well-made movie. And if you ask me the first thing that comes to mind when you think of best chemistry in a Hallmark movie, it's this movie. It's this movie. These two people look like they need to go away for a while together. Every scene they're in. They just look like they have somewhere to be, and that place is not around anyone else. They are on fire. They are just electric. I have a huge problem with this movie, and that is it's a massive lie. What Tyler Hines' character is doing in this movie is not okay. It's not okay. By any stretch, I know he's smoking hot, guys. It's not okay. It's not all right to do what he's doing. And I'm sorry. It gets knocked down for me. This is real. It gets knocked down for me because of that, because it's a movie where I'm not really exactly, I feel a little uneasy about the fact that I'm pulling for these two. It doesn't work across the board because this is not an above board relationship. And so that kind of sticks in my craw a little bit. And that's the reason I have it at number 4.
All legit reasons. Absolutely. So It Was Always You at number 4, played passionately by Dan. Kate, what do you think of this for number 4? Do you agree with Dan? Is it going to stay here?
I actually like completely agree with everything Dan just said. Like, I remember when this first came out, I thought it was just the best Hallmark movie that ever was made. Like, but then I rewatched it for this draft, and you're right. Like, just it's the last 5 minutes are what makes it worth it. It's just like that when they get together at the end and the little popcorn scene is like amazing, and of course their chemistry is off the charts. So that's what I think stuck in my head when I first saw it. But when I rewatched it, yeah, it went down. I put it at number 10 on my list because I just knew it was going to get played, because it is very well made and the setting is gorgeous. Like, I know that I think they filmed this on Victoria Island off of Vancouver Island off of British Columbia. That's where they filmed it. And it's just beautiful, and it's well made, and their chemistry is great. So I knew it was going to be on the list, but after all my rewatches, it sunk down to number 10. So I'm glad it's on the list because I'll get that point. But yeah, everything Dan just said is correct.
Wow. Dane, how do you feel about this? First of all, have you seen this movie?
Yes.
I'm no longer sure of you.
Yes.
Do we need to get Google Translate into Korean for you? So you can...
No, this is another one that is still on my DVR from when I originally recorded it. I agree wholeheartedly with what everybody's saying about the lack of honesty as far as the storytelling, but that chemistry cannot be denied. In particular, there's a very small scene that I love where Tyler is in the library with his mom. Yeah, that little conversation, I love that little conversation. You know, it's 30 seconds out of a whole movie, but that's actually my favorite scene in the movie when they're having a chat. And yeah, it had all the Christmas feels, and I thought Aaron Krakow was great in this. Tyler was doing Tyler's thing. You know, he was doing his thing, but Aaron in particular, I really thought she was fantastic. So this is actually my number 1 on my list. So what's troubling is to play it at 4 and I have picked 3 means I'm going to go below number 5 to pick a movie, which seems weird. So I'm tempted to veto it just so that I can play it at 3.
Isn't that called a Lady Panda?
I love it.
Yes, it is.
A little bit.
It is a Lady Panda, and it's very effective.
It's been done against Dan before. So.
It has. That's right.
It's no stranger.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go all in and use all my vetoes. I'm gonna use my veto on it so that I can play it in my spot at number 3.
Great.
Jane, way to go. Jane came to play.
I love it.
I
have a veto left, right?
You have a veto. You have a veto
left.
and a veto override.
Okay. And Jane's out of everything.
I'm sadly out of everything.
And then Kate has 2 vetoes, correct?
Kate has 2 vetoes. Are you going to use your veto over? Oh, you can't because it's your pick.
I can't veto.
So
you can veto your own pick, but apparently you can't override your own pick.
You can't veto override it. So Jane has vetoed Dan's It Was Always You at number 4, making it very clear that she intends to Lady Panda it and play it at number 3. So Dan will send me.
Oh, you guys are asking for it now.
A new one. See, I told you.
Is there a pumpkin in our future?
Oh my gosh.
A big pumpkin.
There's
not the city pumpkin.
All love until you get to the 3, and you can't get to the 3 until you do the 4.
Should have left me well enough alone. Should have left me. Should have let him, like Alfred Borden says, we should have let him have his trick. Should just let him have his time. That's what
Daniel Thompson. Daniel Thompson.
Oh no.
Look, look, Lynn.
He's pulling a Bran here.
Lynn,
He's just pulled a Bran.
I have 2 movies I care about. One of them I played, and one I got left, and it's not going at 4. I'm sorry. You did this. You did this. All of you at home. Everybody collaborated to do this. I have 2 movies I cared about. I just played one and got vetoed. And I got one more and it's not going at 4. I'm sorry.
If this starts with Wedding March.
This is a movie that has been played before by Dan.
No.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
He played it at 9 and got shot down by Kate. And he's trying it again at number 4. It is Sense, Sensibility, and Snowmen. You've heard it already. It's Aaron Krakow, Luke McFarlane. Dan, you don't need to make another pitch, but if you want to, speak now. Why are you doing this?
I think this is the 4th best movie of all time, and not just in Hallmark, in any movie. And I watched it with Korean subtitles. Hey, listen, they're good. Look, guys, I told you after 5, the rest of these movies, it's a crapshoot. So do I have a couple kind of ahead of this? Yeah, but they're all in the same boat. I don't really care. And my 5, 4, and 3 have already been played. I tried to play my 2. It didn't work out. My 1 is still out there, and I need to save all my bullets for it. So here we are. Aaron Krakow and Bad Hat McFarlane at number 4. What do you want from me?
Bad Hat McFarlane. Kate, you have 2 vetoes left.
Okay, so let me clarify some of the veto rules with you, Lynn.
Sure.
If I veto this,
yes,
can he play it again?
I cannot. I could play it at 2. I can't
he can play it at
4.
2.
So if we already know.
Surely he wouldn't play it at 2.
At 3.
Then I have my 1 left that I'm 1 on the board. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but
and the only way I would play it again is if you vetoed my 1 that I really want on there. Does that make sense?
Which, what are the crazy chances that your number 1 is the one that I'm saving for number 1?
Boy, if it is, I don't even care anymore. If you put it at number 1, we're just going to be BFFs because I couldn't get over this movie compared to the rest of these.
Oppenheimer and Hallmark every day.
That's right. Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I have to veto it. There's no way that I'm putting or allowing Sense, Sensibility, and Snowman to be number 4 on this list when we have 75 options.
I should have brought a hat like Luke McFarlane's to wear. It would have made this all better.
Even Bran's horse head from the show that shall not be named is a close second.
Yep.
All right. So Kate, you have 1 veto left. Dan, you still have a veto and a veto override. Jane is out of vetoes. And Dan will send me his 3rd chance at getting the number 4 title locked into place.
Well, let's go with this one, I guess.
Everyone wants to know what Dan's
endorsement
we all
dying to know.
Guys, it's tough out there.
Wow.
I have a long list of movies that you haven't hit on yet. So.
It was always you. I'm sorry. That belonged where it is what it is. We've already Christmas Detour, these movies have already been played. The good ones have been played aside from it was always you.
I regretted not using my veto on A Christmas Detour to get it higher, but now that I used it here and I have one more safe one for your next pick, I actually feel vindicated in what I did.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes right now.
Yeah, because this came out of left field. Dan has chosen a movie starring Paul Green and Maggie Lawson from 2017. It is My Favorite Wedding. Paul Green is Michael, Maggie is Tess. Tess is paired with the best man named Michael in her best friend's wedding. Her friend is a total bridezilla and has Maggie planning the wedding on the go at the last minute to save it from disaster. Michael helps her along the way, but by the time the wedding couple say I do, Tess realizes that her own longtime boyfriend, Dex, played by Giles Patton, May not be the right guy for her to have and to hold after all. Yep. Giles Patton, once again, getting dumped. Okay, Dan. My favorite wedding at number 4. What are you thinking?
This movie is a chore. It does not belong at number 4.
No.
But neither does anything else I could play right here. And so it's here. I thought I feel like both Paul Green and Maggie Lawson later on in their Hallmark leading actor journeys got kind of stale and not great. They seem to be more kind of in their prime here. And I think they do. The scene where he picks her up at the airport, I actually thought had a bit of like chemistry and whimsy to it. And that like bought me some time in this movie. She arrives and then that happens. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then, within the next 15 to 20 minutes, I was like, all right, it is what it is. So they have decent chemistry. But yeah, I mean, we played Christmas Detour at 7. I don't know what you want from me. We played the Ron Oliver CCB Paul Green screwball comedy at 7. This is Sparta. This is what we have now. This is what we have. I don't make the rules. I just play the game. So my favorite wedding at number 4.
Kate. My favorite wedding is on this list. Not only is it on this list, it's at number 4. I'm not trying to
dear
influence
Lord Jesus, help us, is what Lynn is saying.
But you are the only person left with a veto that didn't play this title. So.
I know, I feel like I'm being swayed right now a little bit. But
I just want listeners to know that our former drafters who are here in the chat are actually rating their comments in all caps at this point.
Yeah, thought they might.
Okay, so I hadn't seen this movie for a long time before we planned this draft, and I had positive memories of it. And that's why when Lynn asked us to send our top 12, which I think that Dan and Jane chickened out and only did their top 10s.
I couldn't even come up with 10.
No,
I only sent 8.
I originally included my favorite wedding as one of my top 12.
So this is your fault.
Positive. I know it is my fault, but I had positive memories of it. And when I rewatched it for this, it totally fell out of my top 10. But I think that I had positive memories of it because Paul Green and Maggie Lawson do have good chemistry. There are things to like in this movie. I think that it is better than Sensibility and Snowman. I don't think it's the best option right now, but I'm also very scared of what else Dan could come up with. And I only have one more veto, and he has one more play. So I'm sorry, everybody. My phone's blowing up, the chat's blowing up. But
I'm getting a point on this. I'm getting a point on this on the field. None of you have this movie on your top 10 but me.
No.
Getting a point. Let's go.
I'm sorry, I have to leave it. I don't know what else
is what that's called right there.
Winning. Hashtag winning.
Hashtag winning.
Hashtag winning. Okay. Right. It stays there. Jane, as I'm trying to recover from this, do you have thoughts you just would like to add?
I got nothing. Paul Green's good looking. That's all I'll say.
Yes, that's true.
Green's good looking. Well, I don't know how he managed it, but Dan has locked in my favorite wedding.
That's absurd.
At number 4. You heard it here first. Jane, it is back to you. It's just a formality, but
yes,
you already said what you were going to do, but go ahead and send it to me just to
make it official.
Oh, is that Brando?
What?
Is that Brando coming in here?
It is. It
oh,
is.
No.
He just texted me. Yeah, after that killer move.
Should we
All
have
right.
one Jack Wagner movie just for,
Sorry.
God, no.
No, please don't. All right. Will come as no surprise because she told us that this was why she was vetoing this same movie at number 4. Jane has played It Was Always You.
And I'm playing it to save you from the things that I had from 6 to 10.
At number 3, I just want to shred number 4. That's all I want to do. It was always you at number 4. Jane, did you get a chance to talk about why you loved this movie at
I did. I talked a little bit about that scene with Tyler in the library with his mom and how that was kind of one of my favorite scenes of the whole thing. And I think this is
Okay.
one of Aaron Krako's best, despite
Okay.
the problematic story. But
Yeah, Dan, you were really clear about your thoughts. Erinbeth, well, let's see. Well, Dan sends me his pick for number 2. How do you feel about It Was Always You?
I really like It Was Always You. And I am normally not one that likes they're already in a relationship stories, but that chemistry between those two, so undeniable. And I don't know, I didn't feel as bad about his life because he was trying really hard to not really break them up. Like I felt like I could explain it away. And they waited a year at the end. Spoiler alert for anyone who maybe hasn't watched. Like they didn't get together that very moment. So like it just, oh my gosh, that chemistry between those two. Like I literally was like, are these two together in real life? Because the pictures on Instagram and everything surrounding that movie, they had lots of good chemistry. Lots.
I don't know Dan anymore. I just don't know Dan anymore.
Here's the good thing is I'm just going to say this out front. I know we're supposed to stay quiet in these things. If Kate uses her last veto on this pick, I'm playing Sense, Sensibility, and Snowman, and you can take it straight to the bank. So that veto's useless. Put it in your back pocket until next time you're on this show. Okay? Here we go.
wow.
If someone told me that this particular When Calls the Heart lead Hall star was going to have several movies on this final list of 10, I would not in a million years have thought it was this person. But Dan played this, and here we go. He has chosen a movie from 2016. Erica Christensen is the co-star. Paul Green is Jack. It is Anything for Love. Real estate mogul Kate has a stuffy proper boyfriend, but no social life. Jack is a pediatric RN and can't compete with doctors in the dating scene. Kate's assistant Debbie, played by Allie Liebert, so good, builds Kate an online dating profile using her own name. Jack starts his own profile, but his buddy changes his occupation to physician, not realizing that there is a genuine Dr. Jack Cooper, same name. The couple is matched and they start getting to know each other, but just who is it that they're getting to know? All right, Dan, Anything for Love at number 2. Why do you love this movie? This was the one that you said absolutely has to be on the list.
I was blown away by this movie. Now, I'm not saying it's like, should be like, studied or anything. It has got all kinds of holes in it. But here's the thing about this movie. A couple of things. Number one, Erica Christensen's a real actor, like an actual real actor, and she is crushing it in this movie. Number 2, Allie Liebert, adorable, like quirky, funny. Everything she says is a stitch. Really great. Number 3, the woman that wrote this movie has a law degree from Northwestern. I found this out afterwards. A MFA from UCLA. She wrote one of these movies, and then she goes on to write like prestige television and all kinds of other stuff. This movie zips along. It has a ton of wait whats, but the performances are there, and we get 2 mid-movie kisses. It breaks literally every Hallmark trope rule. They're both in the big city. They get 2 mid-movie kisses. They both are trying to make themselves what they consider more desirable to the opposite sex. So she's powerful and she thinks men don't want that. And so she is making herself less powerful and making herself a secretary and assistant. And he believes women want him to be a doctor and a nurse is a feminine profession. It plays with these gender roles. It plays with these gender stereotypes. And it does so with great chemistry, great dialogue, and Allie Liebert stealing every scene she's in. This was my number 1. The ranking I gave Lynn had It Was Always You at number 1 because I thought for sure it would be number 1 on this list. But this is my number 1. This is the best of the bunch. I watched it today. I was shocked. I was shocked that I really did have a good time with this movie. And I'm pretty thrilled that I think it's going to be at number 2.
Wow, that was some summation there. I think I have to watch this movie again, just based on everything that you just said. So Anything for Love, Dan has played it at number 2. Kate, you're first up in the veto order. You still have 1 veto left. Jane has no vetoes. What do you think of Anything for Love at number 2?
This is the movie I was going to play at number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. If you want to play it at 1, because that's where it belongs.
I know, but I
it.
don't want Sensibility.
I'll choose something else. I'll choose something else. Let's make a deal. You play it. You promise me. Your word is your bond.
I will tell you what I was going to play at 1 because I was going to leave this here. And you tell me how you feel about that one.
Okay,
all right. This is so against the rules.
I was just saying, because all Dan has left,
the
he's already played his top 5, right?
I have. But I'd be willing, if it's on my top 10 anyway, it might be. I don't know. I'd be willing to work with you because I think this movie belongs at 1.
I agree. This is real movie territory, like times a million.
Kate gets it. Kate, I've said it for years. Kate gets it.
Maybe you and I should get together and talk about Oppenheimer and Hallmark because
that's right.
Look at this.
And not Winter Love Story.
Yeah.
So Kate, you're going to veto this? You're losing?
Well, I don't know, Dan. Are you really going to put Sense Sensibility?
No, if you're playing it at 1, I will not put Sense Sensibility at 2. I won't put it there.
Okay, we're doing a virtual handshake here.
Virtual handshake, done and done.
Okay, deal.
Yeah,
great,
good, done.
Fantastic.
All right, Kate has used her last veto. Everyone is out of vetoes except for Dan. I swear, you're like Bran here. Don't ever pull the line that, oh, everybody gives in to Bran, he persuades them. You're the only one left, and you still have a veto and a veto override. Shame on you. Look at you. You should be ashamed. But also, congratulations, because that was masterful.
Well,
Anything for Love is getting vetoed by Kate.
I'm a little nervous because I don't like the rest of my list.
Can I tell you which one I was going to play?
Right, it's crap.
What were you going to play?
I persuade you. I was about to put. I would have put Love on the Menu, which is a Kevin Smith movie that he co-wrote.
Okay.
It is actually for a Hallmark food movie. Food looks decent.
The food looks great in this movie.
Yes. The chemistry is good.
Looks great in this movie.
I watched it for this. I had watched it years ago. I rewatched it and was like, wow, from what we had to choose from for these When Calls the Heart 75 eligible, that was one of the better movies. That's my pitch, but go for it.
Do we all get to pitch a movie to Dan now?
Yeah,
I know, right?
Please.
Is that really what we're going to put at number 2?
I had that at 20.
Jane, pitch a movie to Dan. Erinbeth and I can't pitch.
I mean, listen, there's nothing anyone can do now.
Jane, what's your pitch?
What do you want on there? I'm here. I'm here for all takers.
Well,
and
all I have is 5, 6, 9, and 10 from my list.
What are they, Jane?
So I'm gonna get made fun of for this. I know I will. I am drawn to A Summer Romance with Aaron Krakow and Ryan Pavey. It's a slow movie. It's a slow movie. It's a plotting movie. I get it. But there was something about the two of them just having conversation that I enjoyed about that movie. Does it belong to be number 2? Heck no.
Yeah.
Former drafters in the chat, post what you want this Dan to play for a movie. There's got to be something other than
I had Love on the Menu at 20. I had that one at 23.
Well, that's not my number 5. I had a different one at number 5, but I've already heard somebody make a comment about it earlier, so I'm not going to admit what it is.
Someone's offering up Finding Father Christmas.
I didn't even make the list.
I didn't make the list.
I'll throw this up. How about a Pascal movie?
Ooh.
No? Anyone?
No, let's just see
how many because I'd like to win. Kate, how many do you have on the top 10? How many do you have?
So including Anything for Love, I have.
We have a couple of submissions. We have Bran saying Big Sky River.
Oh, shut up, Bran.
I have 7. I have 7, including Anything for Love.
And Mrs. Walker would be happy with either The Perfect Bride or The Sweetest Heart.
Don't trust the chat, Dan.
It is. Here's the problem is that
even letting me down. I'm ready to pull the plug.
Can I tell you this? There's only one movie. There's 2 movies in my top 10 that I've not gotten, and one of them is Sense and Sensibility for Snow and Snowman. The other is Wish for Christmas with Lacey and Paul.
No, we virtually shook on Sense Sensibility, and please don't
Yeah,
play.
Right.
And so now that's tough for me because I could get 9 of 10, but and I'm not playing Sense and Sensibility and Snowman.
You know, I would like to hear your thoughts on Chance at Romance.
I didn't get the problem with Chance at Romance. This would make Erin Shea happy because she loves that movie. Is it was such a terrible quality that I felt like I just didn't get a good shake of that movie. And I don't feel like it had my attention. And in all honesty, if somebody had played it, I would say, I cannot say I fully watched this movie because it was, the copy was so bad. And if I had more time, I would have found a good copy of it. And I didn't. And so I can't, man.
A couple of people are offering up Christmas scavenger hunt. And Bran says, Dan, be a bud.
Be a bud. I mean, every movie you guys are listing are in my 20 to 30.
Which are, you said they were all tied for
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Doesn't Tom Arnold deserve a spot on this list?
Yeah,
with his cold or his adenoids or whatever was going on there. That was crazy.
Yeah, I can't put. I got to put Wish for Christmas on there. I do. I'm really sorry, Kate. I wish it was a movie you chose, but I shook on it. I didn't play Sense and Sensibility and Snowmen, and I wouldn't do that to you. But all the other suggestions were in my, they weren't even close. I mean, I had The Sweetest Heart ahead of those movies.
I would really love to hear your pitch for Wish for Christmas.
It basically revolves around Tom Arnold and Lacey Chabert, basically. I don't, not Tom Arnold, sorry. Lacey Chabert and Paul Green. Yeah, I was about to say, Tom Arnold shows up, guys, in the version I saw. And is fantastic. It's one of these movies that gets a bump because it has kind of, the quintessential lead of Hallmark movies in it. And that's really it. We watched it live in Greenville, and so I also have some fond memories. I did not go and rewatch it. We got to watch it. Me and Panda and Bran watched it in the Aloft bar with 100 people, and we had a lot of fun. And I remember a cocktail company sponsored it, and we were all drinking cocktails. And so I feel like it probably was that pushes it to where it is. But I don't really have any other justification for it.
Yeah. So this is a magical Santa trope.
And there's that too.
There's that.
I'm not as big as Bran is on this. Bran would have this higher. Bran's in the chat doing a bit. He would have this movie top 3. He loved this movie when we saw it.
This is a great movie. You've got.
He was drunk when he saw it. Let's get it.
Yeah, he had 2 or 3 in him for sure.
He had several cocktails going.
That's true. We had to cut him off
it.
because we had to record afterwards.
Yes.
But he loved this movie. He did love this movie, and my only reticence in playing the movie, which this is the movie I'm playing, is not the quality of the movie. It's the fact that Paul Green is overrepresented, I feel like, on this list. And the problem is Love on the Menu, I just felt was so generic aside from how the food looked. The food looked great, and it did almost enough to carry the movie. And then the other choices, Christmas Scavenger Hunt, Summer Romance, Big Sky River, get out of here.
Winter Castle, perhaps.
I had Winter Castle at 19. So I had it right below and right by Christmas in Love. Those 3 movies are in a row.
No pumpkin movie? No pumpkin movie?
God. What are you
The giant pumpkin? Shannon Doherty? Come on.
Here's also something to throw out there is we have represented a lot of the actors from this show. We haven't represented Chris McNally.
We haven't, because his movies are not good. I say that his best movie is The Sweetest Heart. Legitimately.
I actually don't think that's his best movie, but
really, what do you got ahead of that?
I have Sailing into Love ahead of that, but that's only because this shot at the end is beautiful.
Yeah, I had Sailing into Love.
Won me over. And
25.
I found all of his to be really bad, but that one won me over just from that.
So Dan, you're playing A Wish for Christmas.
I'm playing A Wish for Christmas. Yeah,
it's
I'm really
Paul
sorry,
Green
Kate.
and Lacey. It's 2016. It's the magical Santa trope, as I mentioned. There's some really, there's some good stuff here. You've got Peter Williams is Paul. That's Lacey's obnoxious boss who keeps stealing her ideas and all that kind of stuff. And throughout the movie, Lacey learns to speak up for herself. That was her wish for the magical Santa. So that's what she learns. And she and Paul Green, you know, of course, are the two romantic leads with one another. It's interesting that this movie did not make the final top 15 of the Lacey Chabert Mega Draft, but we are happy to have this at number 2.
That's right.
For this list, because the only person left with any vetoes is Dan. So this is locked in at number 2. Jane, what do you think of A Wish for Christmas? Just give us your thoughts as Kate is gathering her thoughts for the number 1 movie.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve to be number 2, but
I think we're all
here we are.
Yep.
What if it was in Korean?
This is where we've come. Not even if it was in Korean.
Does it belong maybe at 7 and Christmas Detour at 2? I don't know.
I do think that they should be switched for sure. If Wish for Christmas had to be in the top 10, but no, I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. It's like a standard, typical Hallmark movie from that time frame. So
Yeah.
It's better than Sense, Sensibility, and Snowman.
True.
yeah.
It was higher on my list than Sense, Sensibility and Snowman for what it's worth. So
Okay, Kate, have you sent me your
Yeah, go ahead.
sent
Sorry.
me your number 1? It's not coming through.
It's Love on the Menu.
I mean, it's not a summer romance.
Dan.
man,
Kate playing the game.
if that would be brutal.
No.
Do you want
We-
to message it to me? Do you want to send it?
Virtually
Do you want me to
shook.
do it on? I'm a woman of my word. It's the one I said I was gonna play.
God bless you. I'm so excited this movie is going to be number 1. I don't even care about anything else on this list. The fact that that someone else is a kindred spirit on this movie with me is all I could possibly ask for, because I felt like I was watching in a vacuum. I talked to Erin about it and I was like, this movie, and she was like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's okay. And I'm like, what? No,
Wait, did she rewatch it, or she just
she
like,
didn't.
saw once a long
She
time
didn't
ago?
rewatch it. She was like, I've not seen it in forever. I barely remember it.
Mhm.
So
All right.
I mean, worth a watch.
All right, here we go. We have, just as a recap, number 10, Christmas in Love. That's Daniel Lissing, played by Jane. At 9, A December Bride. That's also Daniel Lissing. That was, I'm sorry, Sense, Sensibility and Snowman was played by Dan. At number 9, it was vetoed by Kate. So we locked in A December Bride. That's Daniel Lissing. At 8 is The Christmas Shepherd. That was played by Kate. That's Martin Cummins. A Christmas Detour was played at 7 by Jane. That's Paul Green. The Wedding Cottage was played by Dan at number 6. That's Aaron Krakow. At 5 is Winter Love Story. That was played by Kate. Dan vetoed it. Jane overrode it. So it was locked in at number 5. At 4 is My Favorite Wedding, played by Dan. That's also Paul Green. That was finally locked in after It Was Always You was vetoed by Jane. She made it clear she wanted It Was Always Used at number 3. That's what she played. At number 2, Dan tried Anything for Love. Kate vetoed it. They negotiated, they sidebarred, they absolutely colluded on this one, and that's fine. It's all within the rules. So Kate vetoed it. Dan promised he wasn't going to play Sense, Sensibility and Snowman, or whatever that disaster is. So he played A Wish for Christmas just now, also a Paul Green movie. And Kate has played, true to her word, the movie that she and Dan both wanted at number 1, Anything for Love. You guys, Paul Green, Erica Christensen. We've talked about this movie, but Dan was the one who really spoke about it. Kate, why did you play this at number 1? Why do you love this?
So, this movie is so much better than it has to be. It is real movie territory, like by far. Dan mentioned Ali Liebert, who was unbelievable in this movie. Antonio Coppo was also amazing in this movie. And anybody who watched Guiding Emily this weekend and was won over by him needs to go back and watch this one. It's on Hallmark Movies now. because he's great as the Baxter in this one. It's just, yeah, it's better than Hallmark movies need to be. It is. Okay, so this weekend I watched the Sam Heughan movie on Netflix, Love Again, which is a theatrically released romantic comedy. And it was a major letdown. This movie, Anything for Love, is way better than that movie. Even with the low budget Hallmark like spin on it, it's better. So anyone who's wondering why this movie made it to number 1 needs to go back and rewatch it. And I also will say, to tie in with our When Calls the Heart theme, Paul Green has a lot of movies represented on this list. Paul Green is a great actor. And also, I love hearing him on the DTH podcast because he's a weird dude. So seeing these movies, it proves what a good actor he is. Because he is nothing, like he is able to make different characters, nothing like this weird, like eccentric, like cool, like he's entertaining and fun, but he's not like this in these movies. So that just proves what a good actor he is. So
I'm just censoring myself because you know the word I want to use and I'm not going to use it. But anyone that tuned into the marathon last year, we all got quite a lesson. Body part.
This guy.
Only one gender has.
I've never thought that is, Kate, that's a great point, because I've always kind of thought that sometimes Paul leans on the charm and charisma of kind of the same thing he does. But the fact that he is who he is in real life, and then you see him in some of these movies, which I'm not sure if that's true of anything he's made in the last 3 or 4 years, but in this movie and in like My Favorite Wedding and in Wish for Christmas, and in Christmas Detour.
Christmas.
Say what?
Jacqueline Collier's
Fit for presents a Jacqueline Collier presentation.
Yes.
Jacqueline Collier's a Fit for Christmas. Yes, of course. But I think he does have like an easygoing charm about him that he puts into these characters that do make them work better than they probably should. And I do think the writing in this movie is, go back and watch it, guys. Like, it's got some like plot holes the size of dumpster trucks. There's no doubt about it. Like the fact that they somehow like never have to mention each other's lie early in this movie is absurd. But the quick, like witted nature of the writing, the fact that these two people are adults and having an adult relationship, like it's all really good. It's really good.
You said that you looked up this writer and that she's like it was MBA or something. Like,
yeah,
I was shocked. I was like, who writes Hallmark movies? I bet she's just like somebody like, let me try this. And then there's nobody else helped. So they didn't do a rewrite on this. Yeah. This woman wrote this one and that's it. And she never went back to write another one. And they didn't have somebody come and do another draft on it. So this is, and you can tell it's her work because the dialogue doesn't feel like it's been run through a Hallmark like machine. It feels a lot more zippy and fun. And Erica Christensen, I think, is like a legit, like she's an actor. Like she really does a great job. And so it's a great movie. I would highly recommend you go back and rewatch. Can't believe it got to number 1. So thrilled.
So thrilled. Jane, tell us what your personal top 10 list was ranked. And
do I have to?
If yes, you do. And if Anything for Love was on it, or if you want to say about Anything for Love,
bring it, Jane.
Come on, Jane, reveal it.
I've had a lot of soju tonight. No, so my list, I know Dan talked earlier about strategy and turning in a list of things he thinks people would have in their list. Mine was a combination because I only sent you 8. So a couple of these were trying to divine what would get picked by other people. So having said that, my number 10 is Sense, Sensibility, and Snowmen. And it's because of Aaron Krakow and Kimberly Sestad, which we talked about at the top of the episode. Their chemistry as sisters, phenomenal. So that's why that made it into top 10. My number 9, Homegrown Christmas with Lori Loughlin and Victor Webster. So here's the deal. I am a fan of movies where people just have conversation. I know that it doesn't move a story along necessarily, but there's something about people becoming intimate through talking that I really, it's why I love the movies with Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy.
Oh, Before Sunset.
Those are
Yes.
my favorite movies. of
It's
all
because
time.
it's
Before
them
Sunset.
just
Yeah.
talking. So
Yeah.
Christmas in Montana, people freaking hated that movie.
It's bad.
But I love that
Stop
movie
it.
because it's
Stop
people
it.
talking. I'm sorry.
Hey,
I enjoyed
Jane,
that movie.
This movie is my 10th favorite. That's not, I didn't turn
Homegrown
it.
Christmas.
Yes, I did not turn it in as 10 to Lynn because I knew that Winter Love Story was going to make the list. But I took Homegrown Christmas out of my top 10 and put Winter Love Story in just to get the point. But
Gotcha.
I didn't like this movie, but Victor Webster and Lori Loughlin, like
They were great together.
Just being adults and second chance at romance.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
I enjoyed
kind
it.
of felt like that too. I didn't put it on the list because I didn't think anyone was going to play a Lori Loughlin movie, but that it was like a very decent like Hallmark.
Yeah. My number 8 was Anything for Love, which I also enjoy. My number 7 was Christmas in Love. My number 6 was A Summer Romance, the Aaron Krakow. That's the other one with people talking. My number 5 was Hello, It's Me. I didn't see that one when it came. I know. I didn't see it when it came out in 2015. I saw it in like 2020 COVID era when everybody was stuck at home. And I don't know if I was in a mood or what, but that thing tugged at my heartstrings. I thought Kelly Martin was fantastic in it. That's one that even later on, like when this list came up, I was like, well, I've got to have that one in my top 10 because it really spoke to me at the time that I watched it. I thought it was well done. My number 4 was A December Bride. My number 3 was A Christmas Detour. My number 2 was Winter Love Story. And my number 1 was It Was Always You.
Okay. I am not surprised that my one and only did not make your list. Just saying. Sam Page once again denied the rightful place where he belongs.
Never.
God, I'm still mad. I'm still mad at what we did in that royal draft that he got any play at all. That is such a terrible accent.
You guys, in that panel draft, there's still chat going on in that panel on Bran and Jillian and Elizabeth.
Oh my gosh. It's unreal. I'm still mad about it.
Turning the calendar on this one. Oh my God, no more litigating. Dan, what was the 10 that you sent to me?
The list that I sent Lynn was 10 Winter Love Story, 9 Sensibility and Snowmen, 8 December Bride, 7 My Favorite Wedding, 6 A Wish for Christmas, 5 The Wedding Cottage, 4 Christmas Shepherd, 3 Christmas Detour, 2 Anything for Love, 1 It Was Always You. My personal rankings, I would flip 1 and 2 and have Anything for Love at 1, and It Was Always You at 2. But the list I sent, Lynn, I just thought for sure, unless I had the number 1 pick and I knew no one had a veto, that I was going to have to settle for it not being at 1, and I didn't have to, which is great. But those were my 10.
Those are your 10. And Kate, what was your 10?
So 10, I put It Was Always You because I said it totally fell down my list after the rewatch, but I knew it was going to be played tonight, so I left it there. 9, Christmas Shepherd. 8, My One and Only, because I thought that Pascal needed to be represented on this list. That's probably her best movie. 7, A December Bride. 6, Chance at Romance, which is the OG Aaron Krakow movie, and I'm sorry that there's only one terrible YouTube version available to watch.
Yeah, I think that may have cost that movie because I hear that people do really like it, and I'm sorry. And Ryan McPartlin typically does a good job, so sorry about that.
Yeah,
it's a good one. Number 5, Love on the Menu. Number 4, Wedding Cottage. 3, 2, and 1 were, in my estimation, tied, but I put Anything for Love at 3, Winter Love Story at 2, and Christmas Detour at 1.
Great list. Well, math is hard, and I have had a lot of Aaron Shea's champagne drinks, which was either the Nathan or the other guy. I still don't remember which one it was. Lucas, whatever.
Okay,
yeah,
Nathan is
right.
the one. I'm Team Nathan. We all know that.
Okay. All right. So I was having the Lucas, and you guys can see the drinks on the Hallmark Movies Draft Instagram, but I will let the panelists know which one.
Can I say where my wine pairing came from? Because it didn't come up?
Yeah.
Growing the Big One, which is a movie that did come up many times tonight, but did not get played. The very beginning scene, Shannon Doherty recommends a Chateau Saint Michelle Chardonnay from 2006.
Yes, she does.
I did not dig up a 2006 Chardonnay, but I did find a 2018 Chateau Saint Michelle.
That's impressive.
Done.
That's
Well,
impressive. Nicely done.
That's
what I've been
Nicely done
drinking
for
tonight.
sure.
So cheers, everyone. Cheers to the
Yeah.
soju.
Cheers.
That's
There you go.
awesome. All right,
Cheers.
before we open up the mics for all of the past drafters who participated in year one of Hallmark Movie Drafts and have hung in through this whole thing, Erinbeth, you and I have our side hustle. Why don't you go ahead and read your list and tell me how many you got on the list?
Okay, so I went for a 50-50. I got half. My number 10 is my one and only. 9, Sense and Sensibility and Snowman. Every time it came up, I was like, yes.
Yeah. I had it at 9 too.
8 was Hello, It's Me. I agree with Jane. It deserved to be on this list.
Thank you.
7 is A Wish for Christmas. 6, The Christmas Shepherd. 5, A Christmas Detour. 4, A December Bride. 3, It Was Always You. I feel like I'm going to need to defend my number 2, which is You Had Me at Aloha.
Good Lord.
Oh my God.
You can go ahead and just
I love this movie.
Just go ahead and slam the laptop, Erin. Just slam the laptop on down. We'll take it from
Jennifer
here.
Aspen as Millie in this movie.
Jennifer Aspen is not a When Calls the Heart cast member.
I do not care. I could not. I love this. I could watch that movie over and over again. I laugh so hard every time I watch it. To me,
Even with the
it's just
awful
hilarious.
kiss at the end.
Yeah, that's one of the worst kisses.
The worst Hallmark kiss of
That's one of the
all.
worst kisses ever filmed, and that includes home video. That is
Awful.
that is
Yes, I've
terrible.
seen him kiss before, so it didn't bother me. I love this movie. It's my number 2. Gosh darn it! But I knew as we were getting higher and higher on the list, I'm like, I'm gonna have to defend that thing for all my life. Number 1 was The Wedding Cottage, because I really do believe that on this list that is the best one. So
how many did you get? Do you know?
She got
I
5.
got 5. I don't
got
think
5?
it was recency bias either. I think The Wedding Cottage is really good.
Okay.
So I
So
got 5.
before I tell you my list, my husband and I are getting ready to celebrate our 22nd wedding anniversary in Hawaii.
Oh wow.
And even we were not going to watch Had Me at Aloha to get in the spirit.
It is not a great movie.
That's just a dog. All right, here we go. For me, I have number 10 was Christmas in Love, which was actually played at number 10. At 9 is A Wish for Christmas. At 8, The Wedding Cottage. At 7, guys, Growing the Big One. This is not to be missed. This is
Stop it.
Fall Feels is next month, maybe.
This is young Kevin Smith. Yeah, Kevin Smith. This is young Kevin Smith. Shannon 90210 Doherty. It's got pumpkins. It's got fall. It's bonkers. I love this movie, and you can watch it for free on YouTube. So there's that. At 6 was Hello, It's Me. I'm really surprised that didn't make it onto the list, but it has real movie feels. It's super sad, but also poignant in a good way. That's also Kevin Smith. At 5 is The Christmas Shepherd. At 4, my one and only with Sam Page and Pascal Hutton. I guess she has to be the eligible one. At 3 is It Was Always You. At 2, A Christmas Detour. And at number 1 was A December Bride. And my Austin absolutes were my 5 to 1. So
you got all of those.
And I got all of them onto the list. So well done. Before I read the list for the final time, do any of our special guest double-deckers want to chime in? You guys were great in the chat. Unmute yourselves. We have Emily and Cece. Bran was here. Who else is here? Vanessa and Yumi and Tracy. Am I missing anybody?
Jillian,
and Jillian,
Emily.
Lady Panda, one of the original drafters from the Andrew Walker draft. What do you think of this list, guys? You had a lot of thoughts in the chat.
I will say it is very hard to stay muted when you're drafting. I have drafted 3 times and we have now come full circle. I wanted to throw my computer across the room so many times, but great job, guys. But
Oh,
Top
man.
one.
Wait, what would be your number one?
My number one was It Was Always You.
Yeah.
I would say I was going to do a top 10 list and try and play along with you guys, but I just didn't have time to do it. But I completely forgot about Anything But Love, and I actually really love that movie. I'm very pleased for it to be at number one.
Okay, Dan, if Paul Green comes to the marathon, you have to tell him about this.
I will, because I can I be honest, after Christmas CEO, his feelings were hurt. Like legitimately legitimate feelings hurt. True story.
Would tell him that you like this one.
I will. I'm going to tell him. Like I will. If I've seen him several times at all these cons. I want to tell him in person, because I do want to make sure, and the people that I have their cell numbers, like when I really like a movie or I think they did something well, like I really try my best to like text them. Not that they care anything, but like they have to hear me just crap on their movies all the time. I try my best, but I will let him know, because it blew me away today. I was shocked. It was the last one I watched, and it was fantastic.
Wow. And he was in a CBS.
Fit for Christmas.
Movie.
That's Jacqueline Collier presents.
Fit for Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Jacqueline Collier, top billing, always.
Of course.
What about anybody else? Cece or Tracy or Jillian?
I'm just glad I didn't draft this time, because you guys are crazy. Although I know we got a crazy one coming up too. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You're doing the best 2023 Christmas movies, right?
Non-Christmas.
Oh no, best
non-Christmas of the year, yeah.
Non-Christmas movies.
Ooh,
that's right.
boy.
Best movies of 2023.
Yeah, well, I'm a little behind. I got a lot of movies to watch, but
Yeah,
I'm glad I wasn't this one. But I do for Anything for Love. I was very happy when that one got
Good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it's got some support out there.
Yeah. For October, I've got Fall Feels. November is Autumn Research. December is the best Christmas movies of 2023. And then kicking off January 2024 with the best non-Christmas movies of 2023. And Tracy is on that panel, so that should be good.
Right.
I see the Harbinger of Doom over there. Admirable restraint. Only imagine what you would have done. Oh my God, I can't even.
December Bride wasn't high enough for her, I think.
No, I was going to say I'm glad that it got played, because I had my hashtag Justice for December Bride prepared to go tonight. But I'm glad it got played. It was not high enough, but what can I say? No, I always enjoy the different ways in which people play in this, because I think I was messaging Dan, because I think I play more like a it's all about the points, which is why sometimes I play things at number one that other people hate. Because I don't really I'm not like, this deserves to be on the list, or this should be this thing should be represented, or that, because I just want the points to get my points and get my movies on. So I enjoy, though, when it's different people who have different strategies playing against each other, and listening to some people being like, well, this doesn't deserve it, and someone else but it was on my list and I want my movies on the list, the ultimate list. So I enjoy that. It was a great draft.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I see Lady Panda, who kicked off our whole podcast shenanigans back in September 2022, and a new mom, right?
Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
And Lady
Thank
Panda,
you.
there's some signature Lady Panda moves that were done in this draft.
That's
Also,
right.
Jillian number one karaoke performance at Bramblefest.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys are so sweet. Thank you.
How you doing?
Yeah, I was completely embarrassed the whole time.
That was great. I actually taped the whole thing. I just have to be able to send it to you. It's a huge
You
file.
sing Meredith Brooks,
Yeah,
didn't
I know.
you?
She did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was fantastic. Are you kidding me?
Did Meredith Brooks. She did.
Everyone was just singing along. It was wonderful. It was really good.
It was really good. It was really
Thanks.
good. Yeah.
No, I'm honored that there's a move in the Hallmark Movie Drafts. It's the Lady Panda move. And it actually happened again. I was like, there's no way anybody's gonna do that again. But
happened again to me, Jillian.
I know, right?
Happened again to me twice.
I feel like it has to happen to you, Dan.
That's right.
That's the signature part of it. Is it has to happen to Dan.
What are you gonna do?
Absolutely.
I totally appreciated how much strategy there was in the play tonight. I thought you guys did awesome. And I think, like, as it always is, nobody's entirely happy with the list as it came out. But it was very fun to watch, and definitely, as Emily said, hard to keep quiet the whole time. Because I was like, wait, what are you guys doing?
Maybe I should incorporate like a survivor element. So you guys become the jury and you get a veto and a veto override.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Sign me up for that.
I know, I'm in.
And then at the end, do we vote people off?
Yeah. We get to
hearing
veto
this,
Dan. He's vetoed off the show.
It scares me to think that there's an outside like source that gets a bit like that's like, I'm already thinking through like what I would have done differently. But if you have an outside group that can just vote on a veto, there's no strategy that would hold. Everything can be upended at any moment.
But it's just like one movie, right? It's not like a person.
They get to vote on one movie.
Override.
Yeah, like
if save.
If everyone said Christmas Detour is an automatic veto, like none of us would have had to use our veto.
I have to think it out. I'm just surprised that eventually everybody that was wanting to be admitted got admitted. I didn't necessarily do it right away because I wasn't looking at it. So my apologies if you had to wait a little bit, but it was kind of fun. It was fun to see your comments and hear your reactions. Yumi, did you have a good time? What did you think?
Well, I was just laughing because it was hysterical just watching everyone and thinking about like, oh no, what is Dan going to do? Oh no. But I was just thinking about your survivor element. If you've got that outside panel, it has to be a majority of that outside panel that agrees for the thing that you're going to do, right? Like if you're going to save or you're going to do a veto override or do the veto, I think that would be, because then you've got gameplay on your panel, your panel, and then your outside jury going, and you only get, like you set the parameters of how many times you get to vote for something to get kicked off or saved. So
yeah, this might be a 2020. Yeah, this might be a 2025 thing, folks.
Yeah. I love it. I want to be very clear. This whole like what's Dan gonna do thing only started because Christmas Detours played at 7. I want to be very, very clear. And then I was vetoed at 4 with It Was Always You, both by Jane. So Jane is the agent of chaos here. I came here to just play it right down the middle, and then all hell broke loose. So you gotta play the hand you're dealt.
I don't want to point it out, but yeah, you were actually the only person who kept getting vetoed, Dan.
Yeah, but I will say this: I got 9 out of 10 on the list, and I kept my veto and my veto override. But I'm trying in my head to figure out how I could have gotten Winter Love Story off the list or lower. And I literally tried to veto it and they got a veto override. So I just don't think it was happening. The only way I could have gotten it earlier is maybe playing it at 10 or 9 and getting that veto out of the way. I don't know. Like that's my one thing is I just hate that movie. I just hate it. I hate it. And I don't like, I hate it. It's not good.
How could you hate that movie, but also love Snowden Christmas, which is a very similar plotline?
Snowden Christmas is as close to perfect a Magic Santa element movie that you can have, and Winter Love Story is not magical in any respect.
No, the road trip, the detour, like
the road trip. Yeah, I guess, but like this book tour thing, all of the stops are really awkward when they're on the radio and the TV, and she's talking to the crowd, this hostess, and there's nobody in the crowd, and like it just is hard, man.
You're talking about budgetary things, which you can't.
That's true, but also I don't. Well, I'll off the air tell you also why I don't like that movie. How about that?
Okay, we can do it when I stop recording. But I think you're going to be pleased that you hung on to a veto and a veto override, because I think I'm thinking of an April draft for you, Bran, and Brian. If we work out a time during the day, that would be on time travel / time loop.
Yeah.
So reliving the same day.
All in on that for sure. Yeah.
So you could Bran will hate it because you will come in with extra power.
That's right. That's right.
There's I think the only person that we didn't get a chance to hear from yet is Tracy, hanging out there on the West Coast. Tracy, what did you think?
Oh, I said
Tracy. Her number one was always you. Right?
No, I'm you know me, I'm big Heine. I love Ty Guy, but I don't like the whole lying thing. That's not my favorite Tyler Hines movie. But no, I like the anything for love. That one is so good. Yeah. So yeah.
Great job. Okay, one last time. Here is the ultimate list of the 10 best Hallmark movies featuring a When Calls the Heart series regular lead as drafted by Kathryn, Jane, and Dan. Here we go. At 10, Christmas in Love. At 9, A December Bride. At 8, The Christmas Shepherd. At 7, A Christmas Detour. At 6, The Wedding Cottage. At 5, Winter Love Story. At 4, My Favorite Wedding. At 3, It Was Always You. At 2, A Wish for Christmas. And at number 1, Anything for Love. Sweet. Way to go, guys. Thank you. Let's all say bye.
Mahalo.
Bye-bye.
Guys, sayo.
Nicely done.
Hallmark Movie Drafts is produced by me, Lynn Austin, with additional creative and research support from Erinbeth Cermak and Kathryn Baca. This show would not be possible without the dedicated and talented Deck the Hallmark podcast double-deckers who share their passionate opinions on these Hallmark movies that we love, or maybe not love, so much. Intro and outro music is courtesy of Amada Zapana. If you love this pod, please leave a 5-star review. It helps other Hallmark movie fans to find us and join in on the shenanigans. Be sure to follow the show at Hallmark Movie Drafts on Instagram.